let me just tell you, as the kid who's, my mom would not buy me makeup. I begged her. So, I went to town on this community makeup bin.
I must have gotten
Crusty.
like 7 styes on my eye. I'm shocked that I don't have herpes,
like
as far as I know.
Age calls the tune, youth's over soon. This is the natural law. There's a younger generation, knock, knock, knocking at the door. Knock, knock, knocking at the knock, knock, knocking at the knock, 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 knock.
Hey guys!
Welcome back to Lazy and Entitled.
Today we wanted to delve into our rich past as theater kids.
If you didn't know it, Addy and I, we met actually at the youth theater in our hometown in Vermont. And a lot of crazy things happened there. Theater is a very dense topic because it really is just a culture. I'm not gonna lie, like I look back at that time and I'm like, damn, like I cringe, and I cringe because of my eccentric personality during that time of my life. Because as Addy knows, I've just always been a jokester, and I've always been loud, and it took me a long time to learn how to reel it in.
Time and a place.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like all middle schoolers and elementary schoolers are cringe and annoying and weird, and they're all trying to find their footing and figure out what it is that lights their fire, or whatever the fuck idiom you want to use for, whatever you want to surround yourself with in your life.
Right.
But there's something to be said for the specific breed of theater kid. Of especially, I think, small town theater kid. Like, if you're a theater kid and you're living in Manhattan, you're growing up, and you're
different.
like,
it's really different.
You're going to these, Backstage.com, Broadway extra, like, I don't know, I'd imagine. If you grow up in a metropolitan area, being a theater kid means something different than being a theater kid in podunk, middle of nowhere.
Yeah, like, we were known.
I actually, to this day, when I'm home and I go grocery shopping or I go to a restaurant, people are like, did I see you in The Drowsy Chaperone in 2016?
Is that Little Red Riding Hood from Into the Woods? I saw you.
God, you haven't changed a bit.
Like, yeah. Thank you.
I was in the local newspaper 5 to 7 times. It was a big deal.
Yeah, like I made it like on the program a couple times, like the programs that they give out before the show. I got on the cover like once or twice. I fucking flipped out.
Well, I never fucking got in there. Until recently, actually, because they like to recycle those pictures.
They've been recycling recently.
I haven't been. We haven't, obviously, I mean, we're 20.
Yeah, I haven't.
We haven't been in a show there since before. I think we had both did our last, or I did my last show the summer before my sophomore year of high school. So I was 14. I haven't been there for 6 years. But just recently, my face was in the little monthly playbill that they sent out with all their sponsors and all their upcoming.
So now,
what
you want to put me on
right
the promotional.
When it's not integral to my life, to my clout.
It was just like such a giddy experience to be in the theater. Like, let me give you a rundown on. So Addy and I would act in musicals and regular straight plays,
and we also would do they offer these workshops for like audition workshops or monologue workshops or musical theater workshops where you get a little bit of, you get trained in dance for musical theater, or you get trained in voice work. And, if you were on the techie side, you like to hide behind the curtain. There was costuming, there was technical theater set
programs,
design, lights, sound, all of it.
Exactly.
It's a wonderful place. I think specifically our hometown theater is very special.
Yeah, it's very, and it's really
and they
special
offer,
to both of us.
Not only do they offer like a very vast array of educational opportunities to students, but they also really do foster such an important community for kids who feel othered, I think. Especially kids who, I don't want to say weird kids, but like
But like weird kids, like not as an insult. Like I was a weird kid and I did feel othered and I did feel kind of like uncomfortable in my community. And then I started acting there. Like I started acting there when I was 4, but it took me until I was like 9 probably to like start taking it more seriously and doing 3 to 4 plays a year. And I think that at that point I was really like lonely and I didn't really feel like I had a place to fit in, and I started going there and I never wanted to leave. It was such a vibe and I wanted to be in as many shows as I could. I costumed, I did multiple things there because I just wanted to be there all the time, because it wasn't just about like acting, it was about that community and those people and the people who worked there, because they really cared about cultivating such like a safe community and like a happy, fun, goofy place.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very important. It's a really safe and playful place for kids who need somewhere that they feel safe experimenting with that kind of thing, and they don't get that elsewhere.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Anywho.
Sorry to get deep on you guys. When Addy, okay, do you remember like the winter musical? You were in some of the winter ones, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the big classics I think we did. The summer ones were always better. They're the more fun ones, and they're these intensive, like the winter ones span a longer time, but it's like summer camp for kids, but you're doing a musical. So you go there, it's like you get 2.5 weeks, you're workshopping, you're there, you're crushing it 9 to 5, and then you put this, I mean, it's an incredible thing to witness to anyone, but especially as a kid, to be working on something so intensely and see it get shaped in front of your eyes, which is so exciting to be able to do that with your friends and your peers when you're such a young age. Like it impacts the way you see art, and especially like live theater, live music, all of that. And you learn so much. And it's such a fun process. And Esther and I did.
I'm getting emotional.
So I know, right? Like it brings me back. But Esther and I did countless summer intensives together.
So many. You've seen, actually, if you followed our Instagram, you would see many pictures from us acting.
Yes, most notably,
the
Drowsy Chaperone, where we were gangsters who were disguised as pastry chefs at a wedding.
Yeah, and Addy was like the short, small one who was actually really smart, and I was like the big one who was supposed to beat people up.
I was the brains, she was the brawn, and we actually had names. This is so theater kid of us.
Patsy and Gerald.
We, just to give some kind of background to our character, a little backstory, so that we could know our motives going into it.
It wasn't just Pastry Chef 1 and 2. It was Patsy and Gerald, and it really manifested into something beautiful. I think that your name was actually like whatever. I don't remember which one you were.
I was Patsy.
You were Patsy. Okay. So that was in my phone as your contact.
Come on, that's
really
like
long time.
That's like Kiki and Booba. That's like obviously you're Gerald and I'm Patsy. You guys know Kiki and Booba?
I thought it was Boba. I mean, not Boba. What is it? It's Kiki and
Booba.
It's Booba? Okay.
Booba and Kiki.
Yeah. What am I?
Well, you're Booba.
You're Kiki. You're spiky. I'm gooey. So like, let me paint a picture for you. It's summertime. You wake up. It's early in the morning. Grab your script. Mom, I'm going to be late. Let's go. You're warming up in the car.
Well, that was never me because my mom was the one directing the musicals, but we'll get to that later.
Right.
It's more like, Addy, we're going to be late. Get the fuck up. Let's go.
Right. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. I have to be there half an hour early. Napo baby.
No, sorry. I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but I just want to get this out there. I was the opposite of a Nepo baby. My mom didn't want anyone to think that I was getting special treatment, which I respect. I understand. Unlike
redacted. Nepo a baby, let me just tell you. When your mom is the director of the theater and you happen to be getting literally every single lead,
every single ingenue role. Shut up.
You are a Nepo. Girl, your voice, it is beautiful. It brings tears to my eyes. But you know who else could sing? Me. You know who else could sing? Addy, countless others. But where were we? Where were we?
We were on the side playing the more fun roles, honestly.
Yeah. And then, we had our moments to shine. We had our moments
in the ensemble, too.
Yes.
We did it all.
And that's the thing about that theater. Mm-hmm. They really, ensemble was sometimes, more important. Work. Like, it was hella, we would have ensemble rehearsals. We would get really fucking into it. It was insane.
Ensemble, they really bridged the gap well of not doing the whole, everyone's a winner and you all get a participation award. Right. There were people who got cast in the leads. There were people who got obviously more accolades from the community because of those parts. And then there were people who were in the ensemble roles, but they were super integral to the overall movement of the show. And that was
Addy.
I'm really like I'm emanating my mother through myself.
I know.
right
I like.
now.
I'm literally like, Rebecca, are you sitting across from me right now? Like,
There were people who would want to come and do shows there, and they would drop out of shows if they didn't get a role that they wanted, which you cannot fucking do. And the people who really grew up there, they dealt with all different roles and all different sides of making the shows happen.
Yeah. Like, you think it's easy to like go there and like, yeah, you're seeing the person who's singing the part that you wanted to be singing. It sucks, but you move on, and then you realize, wait, I actually have a different character that I'm playing, and I'm loving this experience in this show, and it's so much fun. When I think of this theater, one of the things that I think about, it's not even like necessarily acting, is when we would go in between the days where we would have 2 shows and we would go to the co-op to get food, and you'd be like in your makeup and your hair still, and like everybody knew where you were coming from. Everybody, all the cashiers, they're like, the theater kids are here. You're checking out. You're in like crazy hair,
Full
crazy
face
makeup.
of like stage makeup. Your hair is like, and it's not like it's not like we went to these health food stores to get the products. Like, we were fully in the
Like,
like
we were baked up.
carcinogenic like helmet hairspray.
We were in- yeah, and
walking
we were-
around town.
We were in our stage makeup, which is supposed to be way more dramatic than like normal makeup. And honestly, I loved it. I left that shit on. I could have taken
me
it
too.
off.
I would
wanted
go
to be
home and take
recognized.
selfies in my mirror. Like I was really feeling myself.
I know. We took getting ready. There was so, you know, you had the option of bringing your own makeup, but there was also the community makeup bin. And let me just tell you, as the kid who's my mom would not buy me makeup. I begged her. So, you know, I went to town on this
Yeah, me
community
too.
makeup bin.
I must have gotten
Crusty.
like 7 styes on my eye. I'm shocked that I don't have herpes,
Like, you're
as far as
picking-
I know. Honestly, like, and now it's so weird because I have germ stuff, so I avoid things like that at all costs. But, you know, I wasn't fully, my brain, like, I didn't have the, like, frontal cortex thinking of, like, I shouldn't do this. So I was using that. Like, I would go and visit. I would go with my mom if she was directing something that I wasn't in, and I would be digging in that bin and, like, waiting for her to be ready, just
Yeah.
putting stuff on my face.
Of course.
I think any ounce of a strong immune system that I have now came from using that communal makeup bin.
Yeah, it
I'm
was
not.
like-
I'm not kidding you, because it's not like we lived in a city. Like, I didn't go and get exposed to stuff on the public transportation. Like, that was my
the community
my licking a
exposure.
subway pole when you're a kid.
Right.
Was using that makeup.
Yes, it was like you're digging through this bucket of eyeliner, lipsticks, like there's hairspray all over them. The hairspray has made hair stick to them, and you're like, ooh, my favorite, that bright red
Cracked,
lipstick.
like crusty old foundation that like breaks and
Orange.
cakes over all of the other makeup. So there's just this like, it's like when you make paper mache and it with flour and it dries into this like gross crust. Everything was coated in
Everything
that.
was coated in that, and yeah, exactly. The foundations were oranged at this point. Everything was past the expiration date, but I wasn't. Oh my god, what the hell is going on? We're leaving this in. Turn your mics on.
You guys done?
Yeah, that bin was crazy.
Anywho.
And so,
Anywho.
you know, in the theater right off the stage is the green room. The green room
Our
is like
theater.
the hangout room of
The
of
theater in
theaters. Like,
question.
yeah.
Yes.
So like if you are listen, if you're unfamiliar with theater terms, because I know that not everybody knows everything about theater, the green room is like, you know, one of the dressing rooms. It's also like there's couches, people hang out in there, and that's like a known thing amongst theaters. There's
those
the green
couches.
room.
Sorry, those couches are also disgusting. They're never cleaned.
They are nasty, and like I know people people have had sex on those couches.
Ugh.
And also, they're like from the side of the street.
True. This
They're
youth theater
missing all their
does
pillows.
age up to people who are 19, so people start getting frisky back
You
there.
know, the costume loft, there were a lot of corners in there. And you could always slip behind the racks. I did
Not from experience. or
honestly,
anything.
not from experience of anything sexual happening, but because that's where I would go to like be emotional and like cry for a minute and then like come back down and be like,
Oh, I would.
Sorry.
If I started crying, I wanted everyone to know. If I was having an emotional experience, if I was nervous for a show, or I felt like something went wrong, or the show was ending and I was sad that it was ending and I was crying, I was like, oh my god, a tear. Like, I had to be like, oh. I'm gonna miss you guys so much.
When a show would end, we would have a thing called the Circle of Love. So you would, on the last 2-day show,
It's so fucking woo-woo and hippy-dippy. Like,
you would have like your last show, say your last show's on a Saturday. Oh no, you do the Circle of Love on the last 2-show day of the last weekend. So you'd have your first show, you'd go get dinner, and then you'd come back and you would sit in the circle and you would go around and you would talk about each person.
Each person in the
each person
cast.
had their moment to shine, and maybe like 3 to 5 people would talk about them, and you'd be like, you're so amazing, blah, blah, blah. You share the love, and then you bring it back. And the last show is just like waterworks. Everybody's crying.
It is an emotional experience.
It's really sad.
Because you build these, like, every single time, you build these new bonds with people. Especially, it's tough when you're playing a part that is very hand in hand with someone else, because then you're doing all of your work together and you're spending hours and hours and hours together and creating these relationships. Especially as kids, like, you get very attached to the roles that you play and you get very attached to the people that you play them with.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, I think it was when I was in Sound of Music when I was probably 12, and I cried so hard after that show was over. Genuine, like, grief. I was grieving. I was in the car bawling my eyes out on the drive home. I started crying like during the show, after the show. I didn't want to leave. I waited until like almost everybody was out of the theater before I could go. Like, I was so sad.
It's really sad. It's like that feeling. I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but when you have something that you're looking forward to for so long and then it happens and then you have this kind of empty hole in you because you don't know, like, it's happened now. You don't have this thing to like obsess over and be so excited about. Like, if you have a concert that you're really excited to go and see, and then you go and see it and it's amazing and it's everything you want it to be, and you get back that night and you're like, I can't believe that's happened and now it's over.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's like that, but it's so amplified because it's like it's kind of, you all shared that feeling with everyone else in the cast. So it really is a very emotional experience. Yeah. That being said, it's also social currency in this, for some reason, in this setting. Like, I think there's also this kind of culture there that, like, you want to be against the grain. You kind of want to be unstable. You want to be like, oh my God, I'm crazy. Oh my God, I'm crying. Oh my God, I'm a wreck. Because everyone, A, wants the attention of that, and B, everyone wants to kind of really amplify any aspect of themselves that they think, like, is really unique. Like, you're in these appreciation circles or these circles of love, and, like, you are trying to cry. You want everyone to know that you're sad and that
if you're
crying.
Not crying, like, you better be crying in 5 minutes, because if you don't cry on the last show, did it mean anything to you? Let me just ask you that. Like, it was pressure. I remember feeling the pressure, like, why aren't you crying right now? This is the last show. I mean, it's not a competitive thing, but you know what I mean? That, like, your competition in showing quirkiness or emotion is another 50 theater kids. Like, you guys are all at peak performance of, like, I'm crazy, I'm crying, I'm having a panic attack, I need to leave. Like, it's crazy up in that bitch.
And I think it is because people are, like, not that they're taking advantage of it, but people become so comfortable with being in a space where they're allowed to express these emotions, and where it becomes social currency that you can connect with someone over to share these same issues and share this same pattern of emotion, that, like, you do it a lot. There is always someone who's freaking out about something, which is, you know, it's fun. It's something to focus on. It's drama. But I think for the educators there, it can be very tiring.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, because it's a large community of younger kids, but also middle school and high schoolers.
Yeah.
So there's going to be it's its own separate, there was drama, who likes who, what's going on, blah, blah, blah.
But it's a very niche corner of that, where it's because it's a very specific set of kids with a specific set of needs.
Yeah. And I loved it there. I loved hanging out in the green room, and we were always so loud back there. They'd have to come tell us to shh. Oh my God. And now I'm remembering 10 minutes till places. Thank you, 10. Oh my God. I'm freaking out. I can't go on. I don't remember any of my lines. I don't remember any of them.
Thank you, 5. And then, oh my God, and then whenever I would go see live theater somewhere else, like a professional production of anything, I would always be like, they would dim the lights and I'd be like, thank you, 5. wondering if someone in the audience would hear me and be like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. And I'd be like, I would do the classic, like, wondering if someone would hear me, if I would get my big breaks. I would get discovered in the audience. I'd be stretching, like, oh, yeah. So I just can basically do a split standing up. Yeah,
like,
whatever.
oh my gosh, wait, sorry, did I just accidentally start playing my voice memos of me singing? Wait, doing my scales? Fuck, yes, I'm a soprano.
And I know how to belt, just saying.
And I have a fire belt. Whatever.
I'm only 10, but I already have vibrato, so that's kind of a big deal.
Do you remember when there was like a casting? One of the people who would scout came to Into the Woods. Do you remember that?
Oh my god,
girl, we went for a weekend out backstage.
Oh my god,
I think I
performing
started
arts school.
I got red in the face. I was like, what am I gonna do? What if this is my big break?
Yeah, whenever there was someone of like some sort of community importance in the audience too, that was big for everyone. And I was just thinking about this the other day. I was talking to my mom about this, that we would do like all of the schools in the area that are part of the school union. There would be a matinee, a Tuesday matinee, where all of the elementary school students from all of the surrounding schools would come to see the show, and that was massive.
That was during the Christmas music or the winter musical.
Like, or the plays during the year, during the big winter musical. All the schools were obligated to come and see it, and that was huge because that would be like all of my friends from outside of theater who had such different interests. Like, this was my time to fucking shine and show them that I'm fucking cool for being a theater kid.
Yes.
Like, it was massive.
You're like, oh, welcome to my world. Let me show you around.
Take a fucking seat and watch. Take a seat and watch me,
bitch. Do you remember when there was that Netflix audition? Like, this was the only time that like this has ever happened at this theater in my experience, where one of the directors, like head directors there, one of her friends who's like a casting agent for Netflix or something like that, kind of was like, do you have any, actors who want to audition? It was this huge thing. We had like 2 days to memorize our lines, and we all showed up, and I was freaking out with like, I thought that was it for me. I was like, this is Netflix and this is me, and it's my time to shine. I didn't get a call back.
Yeah, I never got scouted for anything. I do remember when I was 9, I auditioned for, I don't remember what it's called now, but it was a Robert Downey Jr. and, what is this movie called? It was called like it wasn't The Godfather, but it was like this, it was like something.
You auditioned for The Godfather?
Yeah, I auditioned for fucking The Godfather.
Yeah.
And I got cast. No, I don't remember what it's called, but I remember it was a Robert Downey Jr. film, and I auditioned to play the kid, his grandkid, and I got a call back, and I went to my callback. It was like I actually was on I remember I filmed my video audition at home, and my parents read the other lines as I did my lines, and they filmed it, and we sent it in. We did a couple takes. We sent it in. I got a call back. And I went to Boston to this like fancy studio to do my audition, my second audition, my callback. And I was on screen. I had to sit, and there was like all the like, professional lighting and everything. There was someone behind the camera who was saying cut and action.
Shut the hell up.
I went in there, but I was like heavy in my 9-year-old humor. Like, this was peak. This was 2012. So this was peak, like, lol random. This was mustaches.
This
was Lele Pons.
Space leggings.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Leggings.
Galaxy leggings, bitch. This
shirts,
was higher in the front, lower in the back, tank tops with a built-in tank top underneath.
Justice. And what else? This was T-shirts with tuxedos printed onto them. Like, this was this era.
Fake glasses.
I'm really into those still. To this day, they've made a comeback. I wear my fake glasses all the time.
Yeah.
But this was like, I had a special silly voice that I did with my friends. I had all of these little bits and characters that I would do all the time that drove my parents insane. And I remember I went to this audition, I sat down in the stool, and I was like goofing off, like doing my bits. And I did not get the part.
See, it's really fucking hard to be in this Gen Z situation because we didn't know what we were being fed. We thought we were so cool and funny, but look back and,
But I mean,
maybe
whatever. I remember even at
whatever.
the
I
time,
lived it.
even at that age, I think I remember being like, I'm glad I didn't get that part if it means that I can't like act like a kid. Like, I don't want to go and be part of a
that's fair.
movie if it's not going to be fun, and I kind of just want to be
That's
able to
mature.
like go to school and goof off with my friends. I had the same, I don't know.
That's fair.
I think I felt that way even at that age, but
Right. You're like, wait, this is me.
I was like, wait.
Wait, you don't like me? Okay. Well, go back to fucking school then, because I'm a child. I honestly think that at the theater, I felt left out there a lot of the time. It wasn't even, like, people just, like, didn't cut me the fucking slack that I deserved at that bitch. It was really amazing, and I had so much fun there, but there were definitely some negative sides, and I did definitely feel
absolutely.
left out a lot of the time. And, I'm like, okay, we're all theater kids, we're all singing, we're all being loud, but for some reason, I'm too loud? Okay.
I mean, even in a space that is an amalgamation of all these different kids who are going here because they don't feel comfortable being who they are in any other space, there's still the element of
There's a hierarchy.
it's like there's like, okay, you get all these people who don't fit in at school, you get all these people who don't want to play sports, you get all these people who don't share the interests that a lot of other kids that they go to school with share, so they go here, and then within that special community that's a safe space for all these kids, different exclusive groups form, and there's age dynamics where like there's the cool older kids even though they're in the same age bracket for a show, and then there's the whole dynamic of like, you have this part, I have this part, all of these judgments, and all of these kids. I mean, you're especially in middle school and high school, like I literally remember being so like having such unabashed confidence when I was younger, and then I remember a switch flipping when I hit middle school, and all of a sudden I was insecure even at the theater
Yeah.
around
That
my
sucked
peers there,
And I didn't know how to feel about that.
and everyone was so deeply insecure in so many ways, and that obviously doesn't go away just because you're in a place that's like a little more comfortable for you to be in, where you can experiment, where you're still around your peers, and there's all of these different dynamics going on with which you feel uncomfortable. So
Yeah. Period. It makes sense.
you can't be 13 and go anywhere where you don't feel that way.
Oh, yeah.
That is just a part of being that age. Wherever you go, even if it is the most inclusive, fun, safe space that is catered to you being able to feel comfortable, you are not going to feel comfortable. You're going to find something to bitch and moan about, and something to feel like shit about.
And I was dramatic about it, too. I would go up to the costume loft. I'd be like, Sandy, blah, 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 blah. Sandy was the costumer there for years and years and years and years, like since the very beginning of this theater. And I love her so much. She's very close to both Addy and I. She's a beautiful artist. She's amazing. She's so good at what she does. I would go upstairs. I'd be like, Sandy, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. I'd complain to her. I'd cry to her. I'd laugh with her. I'd goof with her. We had an awesome costume loft that was upstairs above the green room with just racks on racks on racks of the most beautiful vintage.
Racks on racks on racks.
Racks on racks on racks, bitch. And as you go down the stairs from the loft, we have a massive poster that's the quote board. So if somebody says a funny quote or you have a favorite quote, you put the quote board up. And there's also the needle and foot
And then there was
club.
like all of those during that middle school era. Of course, there were kids like, whatever, this is like 6 years ago, be like, I sexually identify as an attack helicopter. Like those quotes were up on the board too.
Yeah.
That whole time.
That time.
Yeah.
And
It was great. It was great. And Esther and I feel like we have especially Esther and I and a couple other kids who really grew up there.
yeah.
We saw this theater and the dynamics in it change, and they're like so like prevalent in my memory and like very pertinent to the personality that I have today. I feel like they like really shaped me. But it's really interesting having grown up there. I'm going to talk from the perspective of my mom for a second, because she was there essentially at the beginning of this theater. She was one of the first instructors there. She was the executive director for a little bit. She's been there for like maybe 25 years now. And this was like, she's been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
And the shift that she has spoken about in terms of how close educators are allowed to get to their students since like the Me Too movement is pre this like ultra PC, like ultra appropriate educational atmosphere that has come to be for so many good reasons, legitimate, valid reasons. And I think it's like a lot of the changes that have happened from that are obviously a good thing.
Yeah.
And for the benefit of people's safety. But it's very interesting to hear it talked about from an educator who is in a space that is so much about personal relationships with yourself and with the people who are teaching you, with the people that you're making art with, because the educators there were allowed to have kids over to their house for dinner parties. Sandy, who was the customer,
stay over at
she
Sandy's house.
hosted kids who weren't comfortable in their own homes. Kids grew up there. I know, I mean, this is like maybe contrary to Sandy, but I think like that was such a safe place for people, and students were really, they had close friendships. My mom is still friends with the first batch, the first round of teens that she taught here, especially because she was like, she was 30 and these kids were 18. Like, they could really talk to each other. These kids still come over. I mean, they're adults now, they're in their 30s, but they still come over to my house for dinner and for gatherings. They still, like, they're still really close, but that would never fly now. Now when you send an email, literally when a director
Redacted
sends an email to a cast member, there has to be a higher up CC'd on the email. You cannot
didn't know
email
that.
interpersonally now because you could say something that's inappropriate.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
And
That's a crazy shift. I mean,
Yeah,
and you
I
know
mean,
what?
it's
It's happened because
massively
it's
different.
happened for a reason.
yes,
But it's
absolutely.
just so
a
interesting.
very, very legitimate and
Yeah.
important reason. But it takes
It's
away
changing
some of
something,
it
for
changes
sure.
something, and it takes away a level of emotional intimacy that can help you, that can further you in teaching someone how to express emotion on stage. I mean, like, educators are some of the most important people to raise you as you're growing up, and especially in a place where you really feel like you're allowed to delve into everything that you're struggling with as a teenager. And I mean, a lot of kids in these spaces, in these youth theaters, they're coming to terms with queerness and aren't comfortable in their home life, and they want warm relationships in this space that is cultivated. They want to be able to have sibling-esque relationships with, their older peers who may be but who may be teaching at these places, right out of high school or right out of college. Like, these are really important relationships to so many kids, and they've been forever changed by a lot of the new parameters around, how you can be an educator. And again, I mean, it's really hard because there's complete and utter reason for those rules to be in place.
Yeah.
And it's really important. And it's sad in a couple ways because it's, this whole element of what made this place so special to begin with is kind of lost on the new generations now.
Yeah, and it's so weird to see that shift happening because we know both like the original theater and now this totally different shift, which is crazy.
And I mean, this is a different side of the coin, but these kids now, I feel like I'm right on the cusp of this where I kind of could fall into either category of like the shift in sensitivity
Yeah.
in teens in the age of categorizing every single mental health challenge and every single issue that one faces, and then this new, which I think again in so many ways is so positive and so important for people in this age of recognizing mental health as legitimate crises in so many different capacities. Where, like, literally all of these kids are neurodivergent. Literally every single one of these kids is neurodivergent in some way, shape, or form, or is struggling with something that is a struggle that not every kid faces. But that also means that with this new kind of, what's the word? Like, this support surrounding self-care and having to step away from something or call something out for your own personal self-care really mean, like, a lot of these kids now, they are unwilling to deal with certain material or unwilling to face certain emotions or unwilling to be part or to step outside of their comfort zone, which is a very important part of teaching kids theater. You need to step outside of, not in any like weird way, but like you need to step outside of your comfort zone and also to be able to take criticism in this way. Like, you need to be able to receive criticism and have that inform how you deliver your lines going forward. And a lot of kids nowadays, there's this whole culture surrounding oh, this is too much for me, like I need to leave the room, or I don't want to hear that from you, I can't take that, or, you know, like, which is valid in its own way and also so fucking infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, it's
for
it's so annoying.
educators.
And because I was somebody who was, I love performing, I love performance, I love being on the stage, but I was really anxious and I was really scared. Every time before I would go out, I would like cry. I would like go into the bathroom and I would cry. I would get so nervous. And then I would go out and slay that shit. But I needed to be pushed. I needed, you know, that
Yeah.
if I let myself, like, personally, this is, I mean, I know that some people do need to leave the room, and that's so fair. But if I had allowed myself to be, like, to say I need to leave, or I don't want to do that, or you can't say that
You
to
wouldn't
me,
have
like,
learned
I
as
would
much.
not be as comfortable with now being, you know, uncomfortable in any situation, like, you know, talking to somebody you're nervous to talk to, being in a job interview, like all of these things. I don't know, that's very interesting.
There is, in general, I think, a much more prominent lack of resilience, and that gets in the way. Like, learning is what happens when you are willing to step out of your comfort zone to try something new.
I totally agree, and I think a lot of it is, you know, this is about the community, but it's also about theater. And it's about wanting to perform and wanting to learn and to put on a show, whether that means you're a techie, you're doing costumes, or you're acting. And I think that, honestly, what I've noticed at this theater is that it's kind of, I know that a very large majority of the people who are there to perform and to do theater, but there's also a big chunk of people who are just there for the community or because their parents put them there, and that kind of creates a lot of what's going on there. I mean, also what you've been talking about and all the, you know, current events in the world, but I think that also it's created by people who don't actually want to do theater, don't want to act, and don't want to learn, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's very well put.
Wow, we really got,
Well,
we went all over the place.
I know,
we wanted
we
this to be a
did.
mini
This is
episode,
gonna be
and
a
this
mini-
is going to be a
This is a regular episode, and I have something else to say just to wrap this up. This goes without saying. Well, actually, this doesn't go without saying. Live theater and the support for live theater on a large scale is dwindling, and especially post-COVID, after people have come up with alternative ways of creating entertainment, like live theater as an art is really, really struggling right now. And we have the power to change that in our communities. Go see a show at your local theater. It will mean, especially if it's a youth theater, it will mean so much to these kids. It is so important to have active, participating audiences who are excited about being there and who are supporting these nonprofit so many of these youth theaters are nonprofit organizations, and they really rely on your donations and they rely on your participation as community members. Don't write it off. If you have the free time, go fucking see live theater. It's amazing.
Live theater has been around since before most of the other entertainment that we now engage with. So I think it's really important to keep that alive. And I agree with everything that Addy said.
Yeah, and it's you will never get sick of it. And the vibe that you bring to the production influences what happens on stage. It is so important. Your presence is so important.
Actually, there was I feel like everybody's gonna call me out on it. Like, I cannot quote the source of this, so maybe I'm completely wrong. My sister, was a theater major in college, told me that there was some study that was done where they put a heart monitor on people watching a live performance, like theater, and all of their hearts started like beating at the same like pace and like rhythm together, and like even like the performers, because it's such the show is about the audience and about the people that are on stage. You're just making me realize the amount of times that I've looked into the audience when I've been performing and made eye contact with somebody who I don't even know, and it like having this special moment with this person who's watching me perform, who I have no idea who
You're
are,
not
but
really
I can
supposed
tell.
to make eye contact.
Well, yeah, but you know, you accidentally graze the
glance,
crowd.
You can see the expressions on
Bitch, you're not
people's
supposed to
faces.
look at the audience. They're right in front of me.
Yeah,
Like,
you
sorry,
can hear.
I
You
caught
can
your eye.
Yeah.
That motivates you to like put more into your comedy or more into your emotion or your performance in the show. Or, you know, if you don't get something huge back from the audience, sometimes it's discouraging. Or you get that one loud laugh. You know, there's just such a combination.
Yeah,
So
well,
beautiful.
It's literally unlike anything else. It is never stagnant. Go see it at
love
any chance
theater.
you get. Support hometown productions, support small productions in small towns, support big productions in big cities. It will change your life for the better and the people around you. That's it.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Well done, Addy.
Okay, and with that,
I think we're going to wrap up this short episode that I'm
It's
looking
an
up at the
hour
clock
long.
and I'm seeing 54 minutes and 28 seconds. Holy
we'll
shit.
cut that down.
These girls love to talk.
We just love to talk.
We just can't stop once we get started.
I mean, we're theater kids.
I mean, we seriously, and then we're theater kids who love to talk, and then you put theater in the subject. It's just like,
you could
get
really
ready.
go
Like,
on
I
and
could
on
be here
forever.
all night. I should have brought a blanket. Maybe we'll do another episode on theater in the future.
Part 1. All right.
This is part 1.
All right. Love you guys so much. Thanks
Thank
for
you
listening.
so much for listening. We love you.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Bye, bitches.
Bye, bitches.
This is the natural law. There's a younger generation knock, knock, knocking at the door. Knock, knock, knocking at the knock, knock, knocking at the knock, 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 knock.